today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest here in the Carpathian Basin in the heart of Europe. I hope everybody is having a good weekend so far, enjoying life, staying healthy, staying strong. Hi Anatoly, hi Real Diamond, hi Uzbek, Jaspal, Nandini, Lydia, nice to see many of our regular students ready to learn. Good to see you, Zahab, Ashraf, and Begjan. Nice to see our members. Welcome, everyone. This class, we are looking at speaking part 3. We're going to discuss band 9, fluency especially, so being able to talk continuously, so you get a nice high score for fluency. And of course, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. That's academicenglishhelp.com. And for general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have lots and lots of resources and materials available for you to improve. And of course, there is one part of fluency that must not be left out, and that is practice. So again, I want to remind everybody of free speaking practice available on our websites, and I'm going to show you that again because I really want to encourage you to use this. It's absolutely free. So our general website looks like this with the green background. You can click that big red button to join. And our academic one, once you're logged in, looks like this. And you have a My Student account, and your My Student account has computer-based practice exams, online course. There's over 100 hours of video lessons. And on the right, you will find this nice big student partner speaking button. The website will work on your phone and your tablet also. It's responsive. And then when you click on the student partner speaking, you accept the terms that you are going to use it with respect for other students. And then you will see lots and lots of students waiting for somebody to partner with them. Here you see Farizobek, Burhan, Mayur, Zahab, Ashraf, Mohammed, all waiting for somebody to either video or audio chat, send them a text, and just begin practicing. So make sure to check that out. It's absolutely free, and you will find that in the My Student page at either aehelp.com or gieltshelp.com by clicking on the student partner speaking. So make sure to use it. Mohammed Azat, I know you remind me of that, and that's fantastic. He's saying, I use it every day, and that's great. So the first step to great fluency is practice. There's no way around that. There's no way to become fluent in a language without putting in the time for practice. Okay, don't kid yourself. You can't just wake up one day and become fluent. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, everyone. If you have questions about our websites, our applications, the IELTS exam, send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. Okay. And again, an important reminder as we get into our part 3 questions here. Today is the last class for this week for the live streaming. Of course, we have lots and lots of videos for you on our website. And usually we start classes on Wednesday, except this coming week. I'm not going to be available, so class will start on Thursday. So no class on Wednesday this coming week, okay? So make sure to come back on Thursday at this time. Okay, so this is 15 o'clock Central European time, and we're going to do speaking part 1. Okay, and I will definitely put all of this schedule on the YouTube community board as well. So we just finished a part 2 speaking class 30 minutes ago. And that class was focusing on talking about a hardworking person. we spent the class developing the response, talking about our mother, Becky, who works as an ER nurse and is an exceptionally hard worker. That was a great response. And now the examiner. So at this point, you're probably about 8-9 minutes into your speaking exam. So 4 or 5 minutes for part 1, about 3 minutes for part 2, and then another 4, 5, 6 minutes for part 3, depending on your fluency and your skills, okay? So now, this is a speaking class, so make sure to speak. Don't just type, don't just listen, but speak, okay? Speak and repeat, all right, what you hear me say. So that's key to building your fluency. Repeating native speakers from movies, podcasts, YouTube videos like this, live lessons, that's great, okay? And the video is choppy because I'm using ultra low latency, so we're almost real time with each other right now, okay? All right, so let's warm up here. As usual, what I really want you to focus on always is giving answers, explanations, and examples. So always think answer plus explanation. So always give the reason why you give your answer. Okay, and plus example. Okay, so the example should be smooth. You don't need to say for example. All right, so the examiner, again, once you're finished that part 2, the examiner will say, okay, that is the end of part 2. Now let's continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about doing work. Okay, what kinds of jobs are challenging to do? Okay, so what kind of jobs are challenging? You don't need the perfect answer. You just need a good answer, okay? So start with what the jobs are. Why are they challenging? Maybe give an example, okay? All right. So Peya says, services like rice farming, medical professions, and teaching are the most difficult jobs to perform since they need dedication and patience compared to 9-to-5 jobs in the office. All right, Pick, can you give an example? Like working in the ER room, like my mom, right? Peya? So quick example, very easy there with part 2 connection, okay? Amanjot says, well, there are a lot of jobs that are quite challenging, like a teacher or a social worker. According to my point of view, doctor's job is the most challenging because there is no holiday for a doctor. Really, Amanjot? I didn't know that. I thought doctors get a holiday, but it's okay. It doesn't have to be the right information as long as it's clear. Negayman says there are a couple of occupations which require more effort and knowledge than others, like doctors, scientists, and nurses, as I had just mentioned in part 2. Careful, you didn't mention too much about scientists and doctors. You did mention about nurses, so make sure you intonate correctly. So, and nurses, like I was talking about my mom in part 2. Okay. Kevin Bowie says, I believe all jobs are challenging in their own ways. Like for construction workers, it's elbow grease, as where for other jobs, like for nurses, like my mom, the challenges may stem from intellectually demanding situations like performing surgeries. Kevin, good. Don't double up your idiom with a definition. It's not elbow grease of hard physical work. It's just simply elbow grease. Elbow grease, Kevin, means hard physical work. So construction workers, it's elbow grease. As where for other jobs, like nurses, like my mom, it's the challenges stem from intellectually demanding situations like surgeries, which, Kevin, can also be physically really demanding. Some surgeries last for hours and hours. So some jobs are both physically and mentally demanding, right? Lydia says, well, the most hazardous jobs in the world are logging, war correspondents, and miners. These professions are some of the deadliest jobs for both adolescents and adults. Okay, Lydia, challenging jobs because people are risking their lives. Sure, policemen, firefighters, those are some other good examples of that as well. Certainly. Okay. Amanjat says, well, there are a lot of different jobs that are quite challenging. Oh, yeah, I read that one already. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so there were some good answers there. I'm going to give an answer. So, some of the most challenging occupations. That was a nice paraphrase for those of you that used the word occupations instead of jobs. So some of the most challenging occupations that come to mind are police officers and firefighters, as these are not only physically demanding, but also high stress situations. I can't even imagine the difficulties in a shootout with criminals or climbing into a burning 10-story building to save a child. Okay. All right. So again, answer, explanation, and example. Okay, that's what you're always thinking of. Visualizing will help you a lot. So again, you don't have to have the right job. You just have to have some jobs that make sense. Some of the first ones that come to my mind if I visualize for challenging jobs are firefighters and policemen. Sure, maybe every day it's not as challenging when they're doing exercise and so on, although that's probably demanding. But when there is an emergency situation, these jobs, I bet, are very challenging. So here is my answer. Just repeat after me. What kinds of jobs are challenging to do? Some of the most challenging occupations that come to mind are police officers and firefighters, as these are not only physically demanding, but also high-stress situations. I can't even imagine the difficulties in a shootout with criminals or climbing into a burning 10-story building to save a child. Okay. Let me correct that word. Firefighters. There we go. All right. So, again, doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a good answer, okay? Which of these is the most challenging and why? So, which of these is the most challenging and why? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one, okay? Amanjat says, according to my point of view, the job of nurses is the most challenging because, as in my mom's case, she has to provide care without considering whether there's a pandemic or not, taking into consideration her own safety. Shirojidin says, both of them are really hard occupations because they are not only responsible for the life of others, but also their own life. So as I mentioned, these occupations are both mentally and physically demanding. Shirojidin, don't choose both. Even though that might be your honest opinion, just choose one. It's easier, okay? And it makes more sense. It's easier to stay fluent. Okay, so choose one. All right. Lydia says, mining continues to be a dangerous activity since the removal of material from the earth can cause instabilities leading to mines collapsing. It's not really an earthquake, Lydia. It's the mine collapses. Recently, I watched a documentary movie on Netflix known as The 33, based on true events, of a story where 33 miners were trapped for 69 days and 2 of them died. Yeah, I believe that was in Argentina, Lydia. That happened not too long ago. Amanjot. Let's go to Paya. Paya says, as I mentioned earlier, medical professions like a doctor or an ER nurse is the most challenging one these days, as there is a risk of losing the patient, even with slight negligence. Okay, not bad, Paya. Just watch your grammar a little bit. Notice my corrections there. Tanarit Kaur says, in my mind, the occupations such as the defense services are quite challenging as they work around the clock, even in unfavorable and harsh environments for the sake of the nation. Okay, very good. So defense services, so military jobs. Yeah, they work in very challenging and hostile, not just harsh, but hostile situations where there's potential to be attacked, right? Okay, Samuel Sadir Vara says, I believe that working as a doctor or nurse is the most challenging because they have a low tolerance for error and any mistake might result in the death of a person. My mother always tells me that she has to analyze the ramifications before taking on a job. Very nice connection, Samuel. Nice flow, okay? So one way to build fluency is definitely to find the connection between your part 2 and your part 3 answers. And that's what we talked about of why planning is so important in part 2. Okay, so I'm going to continue here with my answers. So that's a tough call. But if I had to choose, I would say that being a police officer in the inner city has to be one of the most difficult jobs, as there are so many different circumstances that the policemen and women have to quickly manage, which puts the lives of not only the criminals and themselves at stake, but also innocent bystanders. All right. Teaching you some vocabulary while we're doing this as well, okay? So watch this, follow with me, repeat after me, and then I will explain. So which of these is the most challenging and why? That's a tough call. But if I had to choose, I would say that being a police officer in the inner city has to be one of the most difficult jobs, as there are so many different circumstances that the policemen and women have to quickly manage, which puts the lives of not only the criminals and themselves at stake, but also innocent bystanders. Okay, so I'm choosing one side here. Notice the complex grammar. Okay, notice the idiomatic language. Remember this expression, it's a nice one. That's a tough call. So this idiomatic expression means it's a difficult decision or it's a difficult choice. So that's a tough call. But if I had to choose, so here I'm combining this with a conditional. If I had to choose, it's an unreal condition. I would say that being a police officer in the inner city, so I'm giving more detail. Okay? And again, I'm explaining why, so I have a very clear explanation. Excuse me, a big sneeze coming on. Okay, and notice this collocation here, innocent bystander. Innocent, meaning they're not involved in the situation. Okay, so they did not do anything wrong It's innocent. And bystander. Bystander means that they just happen to be standing somewhere there. Thank you, Carolina, for blessing my soul. Thank you, Uzbek. Okay, thanks. No, Almas, it's definitely not a COVID-19 symptom, thankfully. All right, so innocent bystander. In fact, we're very lucky here in Hungary because COVID here is almost non-existent, almost. So, okay, so let's go on to the next question. Here we go. Okay, so again, fluency, practice your speaking. Also, always think of answer, explanation, example. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. So, what motivates people to be hardworking? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. So, what motivates people to be hardworking? And again, don't just think of answer, think of explanation as well. All right. Kevin Bowie says there are few incentives of hard work shared among people. One is a sense of purpose, say getting 8.5 on the IELTS test, which of course warrants endeavor. Another can be monetary incentives, such as bonuses, which compel many individuals to strive harder and become more productive. Very nice, Kevin. I love your use of language and composition. It's definitely at an advanced level. Very good, Kevin. Always a pleasure to read your responses. Okay, Diksha Malhotra says, when police officers do... Okay, you retracted that, Diksha, so I will not read it because I don't see it anymore. Justbel Singh says, well, there are a lot of things which inspire people to do hard work. First and foremost is money box. It works as a weapon in this contemporary era. For employees, they expect motivation from the leader. Just Paul, it's a bit confusing. So I guess you're saying that money is a motivator, but the way that you're saying it is awkward. A lot of things is many different motivational tools. Then you just mentioned one, which is money. I'm not sure what a money box is. It's maybe an expression that I'm not familiar with. Alluding to money as a weapon in this context, I think is a bit awkward. So just, Paul, be really careful with your word choice. Make sure that it's clear for your listeners. So don't just think about what you want to say, students, but think about how is my audience understanding what I'm saying, okay? That's often a mistake that I recognize in people's speaking, is they focus too much on what they want to say and not enough on how the audience interprets or understands the information, okay? So I'm going to give you a tip on this, just so you really remember this. So careful not to give too much attention to what you want to say, but rather give more attention to what you need your audience, in this case your examiner, to understand. Okay, that's a really important one. So choose your ideas and your words accordingly. Okay. All right. So instead of being self-centered, be student or audience-centered. I say student because I'm a teacher. Okay, so let's keep going here. Let's see some other responses. All right. Kavid Nagyev says, I would say seeing other successful personalities that have achieved goals in life is a great motivation, because people are motivated by firsthand experience that if they too work hard, they can achieve these goals, or these goals are achievable. Okay, Cavid, that's good. Students, anytime you write the word things for the rest of this lesson, erase it and put a better noun in there, okay? So anytime you type THING, go delete, 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 and type a better noun, okay? There's always a better noun than the word things. Things is a zero value noun, okay? It's literally called a zero value noun. It's just like stuff, all right? Has no value. Okay, so what motivates people to be hardworking? I think that employees and individuals are encouraged both by purpose and by finances to give a lot of effort in their endeavors. When people believe in their goals, like studying abroad, they will work day and night to study English so they can get a high band on the IELTS exam and realize their dreams. Of course, many people, like stockbrokers, are driven by financial gain because money can be spent on luxury goods which improve quality of life. Everyone dreams of having $1 million salary. Okay. So there's my answer. Again, one more time, repeat after me. What motivates people to be hardworking? I think that employees and individuals are encouraged both by purpose and by finances to give a lot of effort in their endeavors. When people believe in their goals, like studying abroad, they will work day and night to study English so they can get a high band on the IELTS exam and realize their dreams. Of course, many people, like stockbrokers, are driven by financial gain because money can be spent on luxury goods which improve quality of life. Everyone dreams of having $1 million salary and is willing to work around the clock for it. All right? Okay, so again, notice the vocabulary. Anytime you see new vocabulary, like, hey, that's a new word I can use in my everyday English practice, make sure to write it down. Okay, so make sure to write it down. Expressions, idiomatic phrases, make sure to catch them, write them down, add them to your toolbox of English language. Okay, I'm always trying to show you some new words. Okay, all right, here we go. So, next question. And this is kind of a follow-up question. So what can companies do to motivate employees to put a lot of effort into their jobs? So what can companies do to motivate employees to put a lot of effort into their jobs? Real Diamond, the word endeavors means basically work that you want to accomplish. Okay? All right. Nandani Bairwa says, many companies render their employees to incentive reward for their great performance, as well as this is the reason employees motivate to do their best. Ooh, Nandani, I'm not really sure what you're trying to say there. What is the incentive reward? Is it money? Is it vacation time? Is it stock options? So what is the incentive reward? It sounds like you're kind of generally moving around the answer, but I don't quite hear the answer there. anywhere. Okay. Beckjohn says promoting laborers is a great strategy used to encourage workers to strive for perfection in the workplace. When workers see their colleagues' higher positions, they want to reach the same, which in turn leads to higher rivalry among workers. This trend makes workers to be motivated. So promotions, higher level jobs with better salaries. Yeah, I'll give you an expression there, Beckjohn, for that. It's called climbing the corporate ladder. Okay, so we use an expression for that. Climbing the corporate ladder. Okay, that's the term or the idiom that's used for that. All right. Let's see. Zoha Abidi says companies can conduct workshops and sessions on personality development, which can thereby lead to an overall increase in productivity. At my mom's hospital, every year they take the staff on usually retreats to a nice place like Hawaii for further workshops and developments, and this really helps to motivate them. Right, Zoha, very good. I like your answer. Let's connect that to part 2 and make it even better and more fluent. But nice start to it, Zoha. Absolutely. Good job. All right. Kamaldeep Singh says, according to me, organizations can motivate employees by methods such as Gamfee and incentivize. Let them know that you can trust them. Set smaller weekly goals, promotions, and a plethora more. Why? So Kamaldeep, it's a good start. You mentioned a lot of ideas, but why will that help? What are those? Remember, the examiner is your grandpa or an alien. They don't know what you're talking about. So gamify and incentivize. What is it? If you don't explain that to me, I'm going to be like, okay, so what does that do? Like we play games at the workplace or what are we doing? Okay, so let me know. Okay. All right. Thanks for the feedback, Kyber. Kevin Bowie says, as purposes in finance can be the two major factors in incentivizing hard work among people, so companies should go down this road and help their staff realize their goals and offer some kind of financial reward for a positive contribution. At the hospital where my mom works, all doctors are well aware of their mission, and sometimes those who stand out in their work get a pay raise. Very good, Kevin. Yeah, get a promotion and a pay raise. Why not? Rajveer Singh says, I think organizations can promote their workers on a timely basis for their performance and give them incentives like a 20% salary hike, as well as bonuses or incentives like vacations abroad. Yeah, very good. Okay. So, aside from financial gains like year-end bonus, in regards to my previous answer, companies can also encourage their staff to put in a great deal of effort by making the work culture competitive in order for employees to advance up the corporate ladder and thereby gain better salaries, more power, and respect. All right. This happens in hospitals where my mom works as nurses, aides become nurses who become head nurses and perhaps even doctors. Okay, so there's my answer, kind of just running with it here and really visualizing again, thinking of the world, thinking of what would be the most popular answer if I asked 100 people. So if I asked 100 people in modern society how this works, how companies incentivize and encourage their employees, I think a lot of them would say, well, by promising promotions, pay raises, bonuses. So much of what you are saying as well. I'm giving you, of course, some more vocabulary to put into your arsenal here. So repeat after me. How does hardworking, let's put that into the wrong part of the question here. That's going to be the next one. Let me just stick that into the right place. Here we go. So repeat after me. What can companies do to motivate employees to put a lot of effort into their jobs? Well, aside from financial gains like a year-end bonus in regards to my previous answer, companies can also encourage their staff to put in a great deal of effort by making the work culture competitive in order for employees to advance up the corporate ladder and thereby gain better salaries, more power, and respect. This happens in hospitals where my mom works, as nurses' aides become nurses who become head nurses and perhaps even doctors. All right. Doing a good job so far, students. Here we go. Next question. Let's keep rolling along. I promise I will try to catch different students' responses for different questions, so keep giving your answers. Okay, keep giving your answers. I love seeing the variety of responses, and you'll also notice, everyone, that there are a lot of good answers coming into the chat as well, and so many different ways to answer the question, so be original. Okay, here we go. How do hardworking employees benefit the company? Okay, so how do hardworking employees benefit the company? Okay, Lydia Gurga says, having quality employees will completely help the company run and grow better management skills and dealing with strategies. So it will totally lead the company to success and more stability as long as the company itself hires qualified and motivated candidates. Okay, it's not bad, Lydia. I think you have a lot of emotion there, a little bit less real-world response. So how does it actually help? Lydia, think in simple terms. So Lydia, if I ask 10 people, how will this help a company? I bet a lot of people will say, well, the company will make more money, right? So think simple. The company will make more money. Okay. Mustafa says independent employees that have team spirit can have a major impact on the company's outcome and development by accomplishing tasks twice as fast and more efficiently in comparison to those employees who are working solo. I don't think you're answering the right question there, Mustafa. This is hardworking employees, not necessarily team players, okay? I think you're confusing the qualifier here, okay? Careful with that. Lucas says, I think those who work hard can inspire other employees to work as hard as them, which can result in a very competitive company. For example, my father, who owns a company, and he only hires aspiring people, people with aspirations. Yeah. Okay, Lucas. It's okay. It's an okay answer. I think you could develop that a bit more. Pichu Yadav says, well, hardworking employees give 100% effort into the workplace by motivating others, coordinating with them, taking initiatives, and doing goal-oriented work to accomplish these. And how does it benefit the company? So what advantage does that give to the company? Okay. So when you think about this, right, think of an example. So think about Coca-Cola, think about Apple, think about a good example here would be thinking of Apple and Steve Jobs. Many people have watched the Steve Jobs documentary with Ashton Kutcher or read the book Jobs. Right? And most of us know that Steve Jobs was an extremely motivated person. So think about what that allowed for Apple to become because it had this highly motivated and hardworking CEO. Okay? So that's what you need to think about. I still haven't seen a great answer so far. I've seen a couple okay answers, but not a great one yet. So Kevin Bowie says, diligent staff can contribute to creating a motivating and productive working environment, which leads to increased turnover. In the long run, this practice of hard work becomes company culture, which keeps the firms growing sustainably. This is why these characters are always sought after by HR departments. Okay, it's not bad, Kevin. So this is what I would do, okay? So industrious staff contribute much to the growth and development of any business, not just by helping to achieve better than expected sales and revenue, but also by establishing a strong reputation with collaborators and clients. In the medical field, this is extremely important in order to have hospitals where people feel safe as patients and the hospital has a good reputation, such as Seven Hills, where my mom works. Okay. All right. So hardworking employees, of course, motivate others in the company. So there's a lot that happens, but at the end of the day, when you're thinking of companies, companies are most concerned about their reputation and their revenue, right? And those two, of course, are connected. So a company's growth and development and long-term success will depend on its ability to finance itself, to make money, to pay for its overhead costs, its employees, and to have a good reputation. So it's sought after. So people want to use that company, want to be clients of that company. So here's my answer. Repeat after me. How do hardworking employees benefit the company? Pay really close attention to the question. Industrious staff contribute much to the growth and development of any business, not just by helping to achieve better than expected sales and revenue, but also by establishing a strong reputation with collaborators and clients. In the medical field, this is extremely important in order to have hospitals where people feel safe as patients, and the hospital has a good reputation, such as Seven Hills, where my mom works. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, I hope that makes sense. All right. Okay, doing a fantastic job, students. I wanted to have one of these speaking part 3. So if it feels like I'm going a little bit fast, I am pushing you today. Okay, so I'm pushing your limits. If it feels a bit quick, don't worry about it. The video is being recorded. You can come back and review later. Okay. All right. Here we go. A couple of questions that I'm very curious about what you will respond. So I'm going to kind of jump around here. Let's see you're doing a good job. And now the examiner says, let's talk about work attitude. Here we go. So I'm going to jump to the second question here. Some societies believe that the customer is always right. Why do societies support this belief? And do you agree with it? Why or why not? So I'd love to see some of your answers from various parts of the world for this question. And this is, of course, kind of personal. I'm gonna be honest with you here. It's very much Canadian American mentality. Okay, Australian as well. So some societies believe that the customer is always right. Why do some societies support this belief? Do you agree with it? Why or why not? Okay, so give me a nice answer for this one. Okay, you probably weren't expecting me to jump to this question. So let's see what you can come up with. And this is very surprising for many people who move to Canada or the US, and they realize that the sales agent is always happy and smiling. How can I help you? Let me fix that problem for you. What can I do for you? Okay. Lepe, I purposefully skipped that question. Okay. So I purposefully skipped to this question. Okay. So why is there this type of business attitude? So Amanjad says, well, the societies support this view because they know the person's attitude and behavior. Okay. Just water, Rafa. It's water to keep my whistle wet. It takes a lot of water to speak as much as I do in these 1-hour sessions. Okay. All right. Ashraf says they are well versed in some fields. Prajwal says, yes, I strongly agree with this statement. Okay, but why? So some societies believe the customer is always right. Why do societies support this belief? What do you think? Samuel says it's the product, the experience, full sentences, answer, explain, example. Okay. Samuel Sadir says, well, that's an interesting question. I believe that it's because people always feel welcomed when they are right about a discussion. This is essential for the companies because overall it helps them to sell the product. Very clever, Samuel. Nice answer. Nighaim Un says, I agree with that notion as customers are the main revenue source which corporations aim for. So to be nice to them is a good way to gain more reputation. Yeah, absolutely. Even if they're losing money. Definitely. All right. Nice. Kavit says, I completely agree with it. In some situations, it's kind of obvious that it's the customer's fault. But if you think about it, the customers are the ones that keep the company alive. Absolutely, Kavit. Yeah, so sometimes it's worth losing a little bit of money and pride to gain more money and reputation in the big picture. Very good. All right. Sandeep Bilga says, according to me, the perception customers are not always correct because sometimes they break products in the stores, but customers are not ready for doing mistakes. Yeah, but again, Sandeep, letting that go in the big picture, that customer might come back and buy lots more. And in the end, you'll make money. In fact, it's proven business strategy. Okay, so that's why I thought I'd ask you this question because it's provocative and I love ending on a provocative question. Lucas says, well, I believe clients are always right as companies without clients can't gain profits. So we always have to respect the customer and make them feel like they want to buy more. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. So In the long run, a company's goal is to build reputation and attract clients, which brings in profits so that they can cover their costs like salaries and continue to grow. Since the source of revenue are customers, they have to be treated with great respect, even in situations where they may be at fault. Especially these days where customers post their reviews and ratings online. So I completely agree that it is good business practice to follow this belief system. All right, so here we go. Some societies believe that the customer is always right. Why do societies support this belief? Do you agree with it? Why or why not? In the long run, a company's goal is to build reputation and attract clients, which brings in profits so they can cover their costs, like salaries, and continue to grow. Since the source of revenue are customers, they have to be treated with great respect, even in situations where they may be at fault, especially these days where customers post their reviews and ratings online. So I completely agree that it's a good business practice to follow this belief system. Students, I'm going to stop there for today. We've had lots and lots of great questions and answers. I'm very happy that many of you were here with me in this class as well as the previous, so you got a good amount of English practice repetition. That's really important to build fluency. And again, remember to check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. There's tons and tons of help there for you. You can find other students to speak with. I will be back on Thursday at the same time next week. Okay, so not Wednesday, but Thursday this time. And if you join our premium package right now, you can use this code R4TYJ and you'll get a 20% discount. Okay, so there is our commitment to customer service. You are very welcome, Khyber, Ashraf, Kavid, Rajveer, Carolina. It's wonderful to have you in the class. Thanks, Irene, Domingo, for being here. Much love to all of you. I'm Adrian, signing out from Budapest. See you next week. Keep studying hard, and you will have the sweet fruits of your hard labor. Bye for now.